Hello and welcome to No Load Time. This is episode 154. My name is Obed Velez, and with me is the most interesting man in the world, Joel Young.
What's good? No low time. Obed, we got it?
We got it.
We got it. We're good.
Crap.
Okay, great.
It's that
Hey, look.
Bloodborne, man. It's like everything is hard. Everything's trying to kill me.
Everything's on hard mode.
Everything's on hard mode, exactly.
Life's on hard mode right
Yeah.
now. That's
Oh,
2020.
basically.
Wow.
Yeah.
I did not think. Wow. Okay.
What's the really bad difficulty on Uncharted? Is it like not hardcore? They have a name for it, right?
I should know this because I love those games.
Yeah.
Never played it on that mode because it's just
Yeah.
terrifying.
It's just terrifying. It's like one shot. Like
Yes, that's it.
Is it like grounded or something like that? Right? Yeah.
Man, I'm looking it up now.
There you go.
To fact check it.
Fact checking on the
us.
fly since the beginning of the podcast. That's how we're
That's
rolling.
right.
That's how we're rolling this
Brutal.
week. Brutal. There you go. There you
There's
go.
very easy, normal, hard, crushing, and brutal.
Crushing was the one that I was looking for, but there you go. All right. Brutal makes it. Brutal makes it. How you doing, man?
Man, I'm doing great. I'm ready for a nice weekend here. Hopefully, to dive right into some gaming time this weekend. It's always nice when you can look forward to that and some much needed downtime. Since our last episode, been super busy. You and I both have been very busy as of recent in different ways, both personally and professionally. So it's nice to have a nice long weekend, but. I did take some time out since our last episode on last weekend to go out to the movies and see a movie that I had mentioned before here on the show that was being re-put in the theaters for an anniversary, and that was Star Wars: The Empire Strikes Back.
Oh, you went and saw it.
I
Great.
went and did it, man.
Nice.
I had to do it, and
Nice.
dude. Oh.
Nice.
Now, you know that for me, that's like I was not around to see that in the theater.
Yeah.
So,
And I was too young to see the first time, but I did go to see the special edition.
my goodness,
Yeah.
dude. You hear people say, okay, you watch a movie at home and it was made for the theaters. That movie was made for the movie theaters because there's a sense of focus that you have to have that not that you're not focused when you're sitting on your couch, but you can have distractions and different things. You sit in that movie theater, you have this massive screen. The drama hits a certain way. I mean, it's a very compelling
It's a different experience.
arc in that sequel, but the experience altogether. And then, of course, one of the things that I was looking forward to the most was just seeing Vader on the big screen, man. Like the last time I seen Vader on the big screen, of course, was Rogue One.
Yeah.
Love that, but seeing Vader legit on the big screen, he carries such weight, that character. When he shows up, everybody's focus is what is the boss gonna say. So I mean, there's much I can say about it. We all know the
My
movie.
favorite movie ever, dude.
It's a great. I mean, it's amazing. It's the best Star Wars movie. But yeah, it was great experience. And as crazy as it is, I would go tomorrow if I could. It's just that
Nice.
kind of a great experience that I had watching it again.
That's awesome,
Of course,
man.
with I'm not going to encourage people to go out and watch it necessarily because of health reasons, considering the world health crisis we find ourselves in. But I was able to take the risk, and it was full, dude. For social distancing,
Okay.
it was full. There was
Really?
all the seats were taken.
That's good, man. Yeah. I love Empire. Yeah, and like I said, I mean, when it came out originally, I was a baby. I was a wee little child.
Wee little man.
So I went to see. I know that there were in the movie theaters. Probably before Return of the Jedi came out. I think they did a re-release. My memory is very, very vague. Like I remember, from my memory, the first movie I remember seeing is Return of the Jedi, like from when I was a little kid.
Nice.
So I'm not sure if it was that or Rocky 4, because I remember seeing Rocky 4 in the movie theater when I was a kid. So it was either one of those, right? And then I went to see it. And when the special edition came out, and I was a senior in high school when that came out, and I went to see that one.
And that's the thing. You saw the special edition. I would love to have been their OG days when it was a despecialized. My goodness.
Yep. I mean, although the picture quality, sound quality, and all that is definitely, it's not the same. Like even when the original special editions came out, there's problems with like color correction, and some of the sound is weird. Like the DVD, and in my opinion, the DVDs are the absolute worst version of Star Wars that have come out, and since like I would rather watch it on VHS than actually watch the DVDs. That's how bad they are. So the problem with the DVD version of Empire is that everything's really loud. Like the sound is like off the rails. It has that. You know what? I can't remember if no, for the DVD they removed the screaming Luke. You've seen that one, right?
Yes.
We're like yeah. So I think for the DVD they took it out, but it still had issues with color correction. Not as bad as like the original. Of course, like Return of the Jedi is infamous. Like that has the worst absolute change of all the special editions, but Empire was for the most part fairly untouched, other than color correction and adding more to Cloud City and the Wampa. It's good. So
I will say the worst scene of Empire Strikes Back. It's not even a scene. It's just more comedic for me. But it's like it's comedic not for the reasons necessarily you might want just because of how it aged. But of course, you get that infamous scene between Vader and Luke at the end of the movie, and Vader's using the Force to throw the objects at Luke, and he's just taking it from the wrong side.
I know. It's like he's confusing him. Yeah, it's like I'm getting confused by the Force. Yeah,
it looks so goofy watching it. I'm laughing in the theater, and the guys next to me think I'm crazy. But
yeah,
I mean,
well, I'm glad that you had the experience, man, because it's good. It's good.
It is.
Yeah, that's good. Like I mentioned in my messed up intro, as I said last week, I was going to try and tackle Bloodborne. It was the other way around. Bloodborne tackled me. So like these things are like, and this is my first. So the first like Souls-like game that I've ever played was Neo, and I played the beta when the beta was out. I never downloaded it on PS Plus, which I intend to eventually, but it was hard, right? And I was like, all right. I mean, yeah, it's super punishing, and you got this like stamina thing, and everything is out to get you. And Bloodborne's the same way, right? It's first of all, I got like 3 hours into it, and then I realized that I was playing it wrong, and that's why I couldn't progress. I played like another 2 or 3 hours after that. I'm still in the same place.
You're playing it right now.
I'm still in the same place, but I'm playing it right now. Exactly. So now I feel more confident in things that I can do and what not do, and now I have I used to the character movement. I've got used to the locking the locking mechanic. Realized how to do the parry mechanic and all that. So now I feel a little bit more confident. So I'm gonna go in back tomorrow and let's see how that goes. But it's like they're not joking, man. When it says when people say it's like, oh, get good, it is get good, because even with like upgraded stuff on like that section that I'm at, it's like, bro, like one bad move and you're like done. It's crazy, man. But I'm having actually a good time. Like, it's punishing, right? But it's not, it's unfair to a certain extent. But at the same time, it's like I'm giving you the tools and you're just not using the tools correctly. It's basically a puzzle game, and I think I mentioned it. I mentioned it to you. It's basically a trial and error game. So you spent your gameplay loop is basically try this. Oh, this didn't work, so you died. So you go back and you try something else, and that's basically what it is. So each time you just go in and out and die a bunch of times, and then when you think you're actually getting progress, your weapon degrades. It's like, oh, your weapon's done. It's like, great. Now I gotta just die again because there's nothing I can do. It's very challenging. I'm gonna go back and definitely give it a try. So I'm looking forward to that. Other than that, man, it's been pretty quiet. Went back in time, listened to that Linkin Park 20th anniversary
Wow.
hybrid theory set
Wow.
that they released because that was my jam back in college. So went back, yeah. I was relieving, and it's funny because I really really love LP, and I've had a really hard time going back and listening to it since Chester passed away because it was so sudden, so tragic, right? Um, and I just went back. I was like, oh, you know what? I'm gonna go back and listen to this because it's I really enjoyed this back in the day. So I'm gonna go back and listen to it. It's like, oh, I'm back in. Yeah, so it's pretty cool. They had it's basically the first two like studio records, Hybrid Theory and Reanimation, and then they have a third bonus. It's basically like EPs and rares and demos and all that. So it's really cool listening to the stuff that never got out, like back before they were popular. So yeah, it was pretty good. Also, The Catalyst is an amazing album, and it's probably one of my favorite albums ever. So I went back and listened to it after listening to the Hybrid Theory. It's like, you know what? I'm gonna go back and listen to The Catalyst because that's a great album. Not The Catalyst. I'm sorry. A hundred thousand. Is it 1,000 Suns or 100,000 Suns? Yeah. So that one. Yep. The one that has the catalyst. Anywho, not to digress too much, but man, this week it's like a skinny week. We really don't have a lot.
Yeah.
But Joel, do you want to talk about the Fat Man?
Batman on Batman. Sorry,
Fat Man
that's a
on
different
Batman.
podcast. It's a different show. Love Kevin Smith. Uh, yeah. I mean, so our YouTube brethren, Mr. Doom. I'll say that much. Decided to put out another video. There's also many other places that are
Haven't watched it
talking
yet.
about it, that are essentially talking about these rumors that Robert Pattinson did not get infected with this health issue that the world seems to be facing, and that he was
Oh,
faking it,
okay.
and that it's supposed he was faking it because he's been having issues with the director, and that the issues he's having with the director stems from him not being in shape for the role, in the Batman shape rather. He's not a gym guy, and
Yep.
that he got sick so that way he can go back and exercise and get into shape. But when he came back to report to set recently, he was indeed not in the shape that they expected. This is again rumor. Do I believe any of this? I kinda.
Yeah, I kind of believe it because I remember back when they started filming, right? Um, Someone interviewed Robert Pattinson and asked him, "Hey, so what's your like superhero like workout routine?" It's like, "Oh, I'm not doing anything," and I
I
remember
remember
that.
that too.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that that'll tell you. I think it's true. That's what we're calling it, the Fat Man. I mean, it could be that. It could be the Fat Man. It could be the opposite, right? It could be that he's too skinny. Because I remember Christian Bale had the same problem. When Batman Begins, he had just done the Machinist, and he weighted like what, like 100 pounds or something, dude. It
Crazy,
was
crazy.
insane, dude. So so they had to give him time to build up, but then he came back and he was too big because he gained too much muscle. So they had to redo the bat suit. Um, so that was pretty interesting. So it's an interesting dynamic that you see. Like Christian Bale had sort of like the same problem that allegedly Robert Pattinson's having. So I think it's true. We're calling it the Fat Man because that's like it's harder for you to get back on a roll, especially wearing like a custom costume, right? Like the Batman suit. That are basically these suits are tailored to the actor. So I think it's true. I think that's yeah.
So I've got a lot of thoughts on it, and I don't want to spend too much time talking about people's bodies because it's just
Yeah,
strange.
but we're talking. I
But
mean, you gotta correct. I mean, it's I'm a big dude. I don't care, right?
no, yeah, I don't mean it
So
like in a negative. It's just a strange topic. but like I just mean in the sense of like you look at Ben Affleck as Batman, right?
it was pretty big too.
He he was a big dude. He exercised, to get to the role for Batman vs Superman, the first debut of him being as Batman. Clearly, you don't need to be, somebody with a PhD to know that when you see that whole exercise montage that he has,
Yeah,
it's fake, and a lot of those muscles are very CGI.
or a
Like it's
body
good
double.
CGI. It's better than the mustache CGI, but it's very CGI, right? You can literally watch. Like, I mean, many people have broken it down. It's not like rocket science, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So, but then when you get into movies like Justice League, right? It's, I mean, this dude Umberto I told you about, like this guy breaks down stuff left and right. He's talking before like Affleck was so depressed with what was going on personally. It's everyone knows this, not a secret. The dude just, I mean, just was completely out of Batman shape for that movie. He just didn't care anymore. You can literally see it when you watch the movie. Nobody really cared at that point with Joss. They just were at a totally different place with everything going on personally, professionally, all of it, right? I say all of that to say what they did do in both Batman vs Superman and in Justice League, but more so Batman vs Superman, is that the type of suit that Batman was wearing is that they, like you said, they tailored it to the body, right? So they
exactly.
gave these very obvious Shazam like fake muscles that they put. I
Yeah,
mean, let's just be honest. Like they cut it to make it look that way. Similarly that they did with Christian Bale. It's not
yeah,
that Christian Bale didn't get into shape. Don't get me wrong.
yeah.
But
Oh no,
there's a
it was
point of
yeah.
the suit. There's a point of the suit, right? That makes you look the way you look,
Correct,
right?
correct, correct.
So I say all that to say, like, unless Robert Pattinson's gonna have some crazy exercise scene or shirtless scene or something, which almost every Batman movie has it, every superhero movie rather, like there's ways to get around it. So I don't know necessarily that it's so much weight that it's that big of a problem that they had to shut the whole movie down. Like I do believe it's very well possible that this guy really was sick because it was confirmed another crew member was sick at the minimum. And that's so much money to shut down an entire production just to
Yeah,
say, hey, go pick up some dumbbells. It's
yeah.
kind of hard for me to say that you would do all that in these kinds of times. Time is money in Hollywood, and that goes around there. So I'm not saying they're wrong. I'm just saying it's hard for me to believe that that's the totality of the reason for the halt of production. It's rumors. I'm not going to debunk it because I don't have information to debunk it. But just from my analysis here, as we do, as we're pundits of the space here on the internet.
Pundits.
That's what we
That's
do.
a big word, man.
Yeah, man. Hey, you like my vocabulary,
Connoisseurs.
connoisseurs. Like we look at this stuff, and that's my analysis for it. Like
Yeah,
you can look at his past history of Batman, not even just Batman. Look at other superheroes, but
yeah, yeah.
Batman being the one that we're looking at for right now. And speaking of Batman, side topic here. If you guys have not checked this out yet, I highly recommend you go check out Warner Brothers Pictures YouTube channel. They put out a behind the scenes the Dark Knight trilogy special that's out on their YouTube channel. It's about
Nice,
an hour or so long. It is so good.
nice.
It's worth just letting it run. A lot of the stuff that you may know already, some of the stuff you may not. It's not again too long of a feature, and man, it just makes a newfound. I'm very appreciative. I understand how special it is, but it's one of those movies that again, like as time continues to go on and as we have more and more Batman, we're gonna look back on that series and be like, wow, we really had something magnificent at that time. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I think we gotta look it up as we gotta look at the Dark Knight trilogy as what basically restarted the superhero genre. A lot of people attribute Spider-Man, which very very well could be right. When the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man came out,
or even X-Men.
we saw an avalanche. Yeah, did X-Men come out first?
2000.
2000. Oh yeah, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Yeah. And Spidey was
That was
2001,
the first
right?
Hollywood superhero Hollywood film to come out since Batman and Robin at
Since
that
Batman and
time.
Robin, yeah,
Yeah,
you're right.
all
You're
those
right.
years, nobody would make one because of how bad that movie was. They
Yep,
lose
you're
money.
right. You're totally right.
X-Men rebooted it.
But it was still
The Dark Knight made it real.
exactly that was the thing, right? Because it was still like it was still a nerd thing.
Right.
You went to see X-Men. Oh, that's a movie for nerds. You go see Spider-Man. Oh, that's a movie for nerds or kids, right?
Right.
I remember going to the movie theater when Batman Begins came out, and I think I was married already back then, and I was with my wife. We were waiting in line, and I remember a girl comes over, and there was like some friends of her in line, and they were like, oh yeah, we're gonna go watch Batman, and it's like, yeah, Batman, that's like a silly movie thing, like. Yeah, like the last one with Mr. Freeze, and it was like silly and for kids, right? So this moved along. Fast forward, 15 years, and here we are where superhero movies are the biggest franchises in Hollywood. So, um, I think the Dark Knight trilogy was the one that actually brought it down to a mass audience, and that's what I was trying to say.
Absolutely.
Because before that there were for nerds, there were this thing, right? And now there's like, oh, these things are actually good.
And they talk about that in the documentary. Like they
Yeah.
take the time to simply say like, this is not a great superhero movie. This is like a great movie. Like
Yeah.
these movies in general.
And
So
I've told you about how I feel about the Dark Knight Rises, which I think is a fantastic like police drama
yeah.
that happens to have Batman in it, and that's how I feel about that movie. And I think that's the better one of the
And
three.
there's great parallels to today.
Yeah,
Like it speaks to people in crazy ways, man.
It's a Hideo Kojima movie, basically.
Blackgate prison speech and all. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh,
yeah,
so good.
Take back your city and all that in Bane, and yeah, it was and even back then, there was because that's when most of, and I don't really want to go into politics, but that's when that movie came out, it was when everything got really divisive in politics, and you have these guys that are here doing whatever they're doing, right, and then you have the other group of people that are angry and everything is evil and everything is against everything, and so that's when it started getting really divisive in politics, and I think the movie was very well timed, if you ask me.
It makes me think of Star Wars. Like I know, and again, not to get into it, but Star Wars is very political.
It is.
Like, and Lucas
It's
has been
space
very
Nazis.
honest about it.
Yeah, it's space Nazis, and you got space Hitler, and the
The Republic, the democracy, I mean, there is so galactic empires. It's so so incredible.
Like beginning with the original trilogy basically was space Nazis moving into like corrupt politicians and usurping power and all these things, right? It's a complex story. Like if you put it like, it's a movie, right? And you watch it, it's fun, right? And even if you bring it to like the Disney trilogy, like the first two movies, they like. The Last Jedi has a really strong like philosophical meaning to it, right?
100%.
I think the Rise of Skywalker, it's pretty hollow.
Yeah,
because it's like it got to the point where they just didn't know what to do and they just did it, right? It's like, we gotta put this movie out. But even the father and son dynamic that we saw on Force Awakens with Han and Ben, and this, all of them have had like a very deep meaning. It's not just a popcorn movie. But it was the same with Dark Knight Rises. It was like, man, this movie is nuts.
Crazy.
Yeah,
I can't wait for you to see Tenet. When that you get to see it,
yeah. I'll watch it. I'll buy it when it comes out on 4K for sure. Yeah.
Good surround sound movie.
Yeah, I bet. Joe, and then just going into the we just mentioned Spider-Man a minute ago. All right, all right. So we talked about it last week before this like rumors broke. Because again, I mean we're not subject matter experts. We don't want to call ourselves that, right? But we kind of know what we're talking about. Um, we talked about last week about the the real possibility of the next Spider-Man movie being a Spider-Verse movie. You know, basically with Doctor Strange, with Electro have been confirmed and all that. So now there's actual like rumors out there that they're calling wild. It's like call them wild, but we've been calling it for weeks now. Come on. That indeed this movie will be a Spider Verse movie. All three Spider Mans will be in it, meaning uh, Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, and Tom Holland. In addition to that, we'll get Venom. So we will get the new Venom, not Spider-Man 3 Venom. We will get Goblin in James Franco coming back as Osborn. And yeah, man, like rumors are like this is possibly happening now. Like there's actual like possible evidence that this movie is going to happen that way. But yeah, man, I mean, this is Spidey's your gem. So what do you think?
Oh, I'm in love with this news. I mean, we talked about it at length, like you said in the past, when the Jamie Foxx stuff started coming out. We talked about it in our last episode as well, and you know, it's important to know that as of the time of us recording this on Thursday, October the 15th, the last word that we have is from Sony Pictures saying to ET that a representative from them said the rumored castings are not confirmed. So it could be confirmed tomorrow, could be confirmed next week. We don't know, but I expect this to be confirmed. Is my point, and that's the exact wording. Right? They didn't say the rumored castings are false. They didn't say the rumored castings are overblown out of proportion. They say that they are not confirmed. Is the exact wording Sony's using. So basically, hold your horses. It's not don't take it to the bank yet, but they're working on it.
They're working
And
on it.
that's good to know because in the industry, what I've heard and read and seen is that typically when something is rumored that somebody is in negotiations, they've already been in negotiations and they're literally just about to sign the paper. Like it's basically done at that point.
So it's a
So
yeah.
when
So it's a gentleman's agreement.
exactly,
Yeah, yeah,
exactly. So like the last time we had something happen where something was in negotiations and it just fell flat, and that was not necessarily the worst circumstances, it just things changed, was Joaquin Phoenix coming in as you know, Doctor Strange. That he was legitimately in discussions and then he didn't. Although that's a classic case of Disney playing charades where I remember at that time there was strong rumors of Benedict Cumberbatch being in Star Wars, and then I remember again this
yeah.
this this other reporter talking about saying at the smoke screen he's not going to be in Star Wars, he's actually going to be in a Marvel movie, and I was like, well, it has to be Doctor Strange. So this situation here though, I again totally expect it to be done. I'm happy to see that they are trying to bring each of these worlds in together. I'm hoping it's not overbearing. They don't try to force too much into the movie. Sony has a problem with that when they get too crazy. So
Yep.
I'm hoping they get too crazy. My thought is that they're doing this one because it makes sense to do it now,
Oh yeah.
but two, also the logic behind it from a business standpoint is this guy is only signed on. Tom Holland's only signed on for two movies, right? He signed on for this third Spider-Man movie with the Disney agreement, and then he signed on for one more Disney specific Marvel film. So understand that your business is in a situation where you're going to need to kind of set things up for future. This would be the movie to make that try, make that attempt while the person's locked in contractually, instead of try and make that contract happen later. And I'm this is me just saying this. I would not be shocked if Sony's thought is hopefully this does well and revitalizes the interest in these other two actors in being Spider-Man in addition to Tom Holland, because if Disney still tries to do stuff, they've got their own, like
Yeah,
they've
their
always
own
wanted to have
Spider-Man.
their Sony verse, right? So they have their own Spider-Men
Yep.
that exist outside, and they can, if they wanted to make some other spin-off movie and have those characters show up in, I don't know, in a Venom movie or something like that, they don't have to worry about it being connected to Disney. That's just me type saying that I have no basis for it, but yeah, exciting times. Not much
Yeah.
more to say there, except that we will see when it gets confirmed. I'm sure it will.
Yeah.
But getting the Spider Verse, my eyes are now looking out for, will there be a Miles Morales? We'll find out.
So there's a rumor, and I'm gonna look up the actor's name because I just don't want to call it the kid from this thing, right?
Sure.
Hold
Fact
on.
checking on the spot. I was also throwing us a softball for our next segment
So
too.
so Caleb McLaughlin, and he is Lucas in Stranger Things. So there's rumors that he's being eyed to play Miles.
Pretty young, 19, which should fit the age.
Yep. So yeah, man. There you go. We'll see. I'm really excited. I am. I'm probably even more excited about this than I was about Endgame, if this is actually true. Because it's gonna be crazy, man. So here's what I would. I don't want any of the three Spider-Man to die, right? But I think they should definitely redeem the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man. Like I don't want him to be
Different director could change everything.
I don't want him to be the Peter Parker that dies, right? But I want them to, hey, um, yeah. So this Peter Parker is the one that's like, yeah, like gonna save the day, kind of. Like I want that. I want that. I want it. You know, Tobey Maguire, he had his, he had his streak. Tom Holland's doing great. I wanna see justice for for Andrew Garfield. Um, and potentially, I mean that could potentially be it, right? With Electro and whatnot. Now what do you think? So Venom 2 is basically done, right? That movie's
Yes.
yeah, that movie was supposed to come out sometime this year, and
Like now. It's supposed to be October
yeah,
now.
yep, yep, yep. So that got postponed until like next summer or something like that.
Yeah.
Um, Interesting that we haven't even seen the trailer or anything. So I'm wondering. So the rumor is that Tom Hardy is going to be in as Venom, right? In this thing, we know that there's a cliffhanger with Carnage in the last movie. Could it be? Could it be that somehow, right? They reveal that the Andrew like what just exactly what you said, and I think you said something really interesting. Um, let's say they want to go because Andrew Garfield was signed for 3 movies, and he didn't do a third one. Tobey Maguire signed for 4 movies. He didn't get to do a fourth one. So what would happen, right? If now that if these things are potentially crossing with the MCU, what would happen if, say, for example, the Tom Holland Spider-Man and the Venom from the Hardy Venom are the ones that actually coexist in the same universe. But now with them bringing in the other universes, Captain America can come in and help, and Iron Fist can come in and help, and all these other characters that cameo in Maximum Carnage can come in, and then set up to do a Maximum Carnage movie. Because I know, like, Spider-Man fans have been freaking clamoring for Maximum Carnage. So could they be instead of just them doing their Sinister Six movie and this other movie, then they do their Spider-Verse completely separate from the Tom Holland one? People will still go and watch it, man. Like the casuals will get confused as heck, and I was gonna drop it, but no, I caught it in time, sir. So,
So
yeah.
So the thing about that, I do think it's very possible. Like I think you're 100% on the money there. I think that would make sense for, and that's something that Sony's been wanting to have. They've not been shy about it. The thing that has revitalized and brought a new breath of life into Spider-Man is the Disney partnership. That's what made Spider-Man get back on the map in a way that he wasn't before in the Andrew Garfield movies. Those movies weren't they weren't egregious. They had moments that, especially like the second movie, was really tough. But what really made it start to fall flat is that you have movies like that coming out, and then you got like Avengers movies coming out where people are like, it just kind of didn't live on its own 2 feet. But having like, think about it, on paper, we're looking at having next year a movie where we'll have Doctor Strange, Tom Holland, Andrew Garfield, and Tobey Maguire all standing side by side as heroes in one movie. That's an Avengers type of movie we're going to be getting next year. It's a huge movie, like you're saying. It's like Endgame.
Yeah.
There's a lot of possibilities. You're saying you bring in even Venom. We don't know how Morbius is going to factor into this. There's a Tobey Maguire or whatever, a graphic poster thing in that trailer. The Sinister Six is talked about in there. So as long as they get the villains right for this movie, and that's something that I'm not, obviously we know that the Jamie Foxx Electro thing. There is no way Electro is going to be the one going up against Doctor Strange and
No.
three Spider-Man.
No.
Sorry, it's just not going to happen.
No.
But I'm just saying, whatever they're setting up, maybe it is a Sinister Six of multiple universes. I don't know. But whatever it is, better be pretty big. And then the last part is, if you want to succeed beyond this, you got to make sure that you give it, you set it up well that it can live without the Disney magic, because that's really what brought this thing back to life.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yep. Absolutely. Let's move along to Spidey, because there's Sony dropped a few new things about Spider-Man Miles Morales. You have a cat. How do you feel about the cat, sir?
I'm not a crazy cat guy. No, sorry, I'm not. That's a stereotype. I know.
Yeah.
Look, if you like cats, you're gonna find this very cute. I think it's fun.
It's cute.
It's a nice touch to make, again, this Miles Morales has always been the more, like, Spider-Man's always been personable. Peter Parker's always been the guy you can relate to. You're doing the same thing with Miles Morales. Now you're making him your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man in this way. So it's cool having a spider cat, as I like to call it. I look forward to seeing how he fully works. So I'm going to be completely candid, because we talked about beforehand, Obed, about this article that came out with some gameplay or whatever that came out with this cat and some other features. I have intentionally not watched the video.
Okay.
I have refrained because I didn't want to get into any kind of stuff. I want to just have an amazing experience. I'm not saying it's spoilery because I don't imagine it show too much, but all I do know is that there's a cat, and then I also know the ability of the incognito kind of powers, which is to be expected.
Yeah. So I haven't watched the video either.
Okay.
I read through some of the article. I've seen some of the screenshots, but I haven't watched the video. Have you heard anything about the graphics options?
Yes.
Okay. So the game basically runs at native 4K with ray tracing at 30 frames a second. You can disable ray tracing and get 50 FPS with like volumetric lighting and pre-render animations instead of actual ray tracing. Of course, we know ray tracing is very taxing on the hardware. We know that the PS5, although powerful, it doesn't have the capability of, say, a 2080 Ti or one of the new Nvidia cards when it comes to ray tracing.
We wouldn't be spending $499 if that was the case.
Absolutely, yeah, you're absolutely right. So I think that this is wise, because a lot of people, ray tracing is really, really cool, right? I would be one that would disable ray tracing just to play the game at 60 FPS. Because, it kind of sucks that you can't have both, right? But given the option, I would choose the FPS. If I get volumetric lighting and HDR and native 4K, yeah. To me, it's a no-brainer. Like, I would leave ray tracing on, say, for DMC5 Special Edition, that, it's 60 FPS with ray tracing. It is not an open world game, so they can pull it off just fine. That's the thing, right? This is an open world game, so that's also why it's taxing. They've mentioned that the Ratchet and Clank that's coming out um, also has a similar performance feature. So we'll see. Uh, it's confirmed that Ghost of Tsushima, Joel, will run at 4K 60 on PS5.
That's awesome.
So if you haven't played the game, and you can bring your saves over. So if you haven't played the game, Joel, it's a fantastic game. Now you can play it on your PS5, sir, and enjoy. Have a great time. Um, yeah, instead of playing it at the 28 FPS that runs on PS4. It's rough, bro. It gets really rough on some areas, like especially with combat. Like traversal's fine, but the combat when there's a lot of stuff happening at the same time, it gets pretty choppy. You can tell.
Did you see
So
the Digital Foundry video on the Xbox Series X playing AC Unity at 60 frames?
that came out last week, right? I haven't watched
Yeah,
it. I haven't
like a week.
watched it because
Yeah,
I know that people on Twitter was like, "Oh, well, finally after
yeah.
like 8 years we can play AC Unity at
Yeah,
60."
man. I was watching and I was like, this is crazy to know that they finally, like, after all this time, the Series X can run it at 60 solid.
It's probably brute
And
forcing it.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. We'll see how this backwards compatibility, what it does for some games that lag just because the hardware capabilities. I remember that
Yeah.
thing about AC Unities when it came out at the
Oh
time.
man.
When they were developing it, they were developing it without knowing what next gen capabilities fully were. They were just expecting it to run a certain way, and it just totally backfired. But it's crazy because on Digital Foundry Video, and check it out when you get a chance, like they show how like it was made to run like this. It just unfortunately was just out of its time in that standpoint from hardware.
Yeah. Yep. Um. Yeah. Some interesting stuff when it comes to the performance options on the next gen consoles. Um. Joel, you want to talk a little bit about that teardown? That because Digital Foundry did their own
Yeah,
analysis on the teardown, and
yeah,
I thought it was a lot. I mean, of course, Sony's not gonna take their time and go over in detail and show you everything there is, right? Um, but Digital Foundry did basically an analysis on the PS5 teardown that Sony put out there. We talked about it last week, but they were very thorough. Of course, Richard Ledbetter is he is a super tech nerd,
oh,
and
he's
he would go really into detail when it comes to these things. Um, I'm glad to actually point something that I pointed out last week that he pointed out as well was that that Blu-ray drive seems proprietary. It looks like something that no other
developed by Sony. Yeah,
that no other device has. And yeah, he says yeah, it looks like this is like a custom solution for the Blu-ray drive uh, to minimize vibration and noise. So that worked out pretty good. Um, let's see other things. Yeah, he pointed out the liquid metal and the size of the heat sink. It's like they're brute forcing cooling on this thing. They because it doesn't have vapor chamber on the cooling solution, so it just relies on that gigantic heat sink. Um, the fan, he pointed out the custom fan that actually pulls air from top and bottom, exhaust in the back. So uh, basically that's again something that we've never seen before. So it was pretty cool. Um, let's see what else that I may have missed. Um, Pointed out, again the controller on the hard drive, the memory positioning, the APU positioning too, because you can see that the processor is there's the processor and there's the memory around it, right? And then everything else is far away from it. So that's how they're dissipating some of that heat. Not having the CPU get too crazy hot and maybe damage another component. So that was another world design thing. So yeah, things like that. It was pretty good. So
Yeah, it was a good video.
yeah, I highly recommend that you guys really watch Digital Foundry if you're interested in like how things work when it comes to gaming, because they're probably the best out there when it comes to this sort of thing. So they're non-biased. They're like very thorough on their analysis, and they're definitely like top tier S+ rank when it comes to this sort of thing. So um, yeah, but yeah, it's good that you have options when it comes to these things. So we shall see. We'll find out in a few weeks here, Joe, because it's pretty much right around the corner. Do you want to talk about that UI, sir? Because
Oh,
you were the
let's get
one.
into that.
Yeah, because you were the one asking about the UI. Like you sent me a message like last week, I think. I was like, man, when are we
Yeah.
gonna see the UI? So what do you think?
Yeah, in our personal time, we talked about the stuff texting the other day, and I was like, "Hey, man, what are we gonna see this thing?" And I genuinely thought there was a chance that we weren't gonna see this thing until like day of. I wouldn't have been mad with it; it just would have been a surprising move. Regardless, pretty cool. Nice surprise reveal again. We had last week the teardown. A week later, we get this UI reveal, and was 11-minute long. I think the video is. I really was impressed with the cleanness of the look, the very significant move to make it more upgraded looking. It doesn't look like anything of the past. Aesthetically, it's very new, but it's very PlayStation, if that makes sense. Like you recognize that it's not
Yep.
you're not like, what console am I on? What is this? Like you recognize that you're on a PlayStation console. There's plus the icons and things that you'll recognize, but the use of cards, really cool abilities there. The suggestions, the interface is going to be very knowledgeable based on what it recommends to you, recommending different challenges and level skills, recommending different matches to get into, also recommending some things that your friends are doing, what you can join in on, the party mode. I mean, I can go down the list, all the stuff they showed. I really recommend you guys literally sit there and watch it. For me, a bit what stuck out was that split screen capability. I thought that was something that was pretty neat and new, and did not see that coming.
Yep.
Like to be able to literally have either you can have pinned on the side like a guide of like this is things you need to be looking for, kind
A
of let you.
Bloodborne playthrough.
Yeah, like that's pretty awesome, man. You can have that pinned on the side, help you get through what you need to do. Someone like me would totally
Oh
use that.
man.
You can also have a pinned on there, maybe what your friends are playing. I mean, there's a lot of different possibilities there. I
I
also like.
yeah. Go ahead. Go
Go ahead.
ahead. No. I think that to me that's the thing that other than the snappiness of it, was the one thing that really stood out, is that you can actually see what your friends are playing, basically, and how they're doing. So I think that's pretty cool. Like without
Yeah.
having to go to a website to do that, that to me was awesome.
Also, the PlayStation Store being natively in the software, like it's not a separate application. Like you'll be able to literally purchase things like as it suggests things to you, without having to leave and go into a separate app. I thought that was pretty smart as well. It's a great way to keep selling and not feel like, oh, I got to come out of here, download this thing, launch. No, it's not. It doesn't have to be that way. It's not set up that way. Uh, what else? What else did I like about it? I mean, there's not much to not like about it. I would say, they did still stick to that very PlayStation horizontal,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
scrolling
Yep.
through everything.
Yep.
It looks a lot nicer. It looks a lot cleaner. It's more organized. You have at the top games and then media, that kind of splitting the two content types, which I appreciate. I like that games is its own thing, because like this is why we buy PlayStation, right? We don't buy it so we can go and watch Netflix, although we can. It's made for games. Like this is what we're looking to do, right?
Yeah.
And them not selling it as this all-in-one kind of machine,
And
although it has capabilities.
yeah.
That's the right marketing tactic, and you're doing it right natively in the UI.
Yeah, and the PS4 UI had that too, where All the
Yeah,
like
it
the
did.
TV apps are just you have to go into this TV section, and from there you can launch to your TV apps. So it did have something very similar to that, and then your games are all over the place, unless you have folders like I do, like OCD with my folders on. I was like, this is from a disc, this is digital, and this is from PS Plus. It's like that's how I have mine organized, basically. Um, so yeah, man, I think it was good that we can see what's up with that UI. It looks snappy, very responsive. Um, the I like the progress. Like, how far along are you on doing this certain task in the game? It'll give you a progress. Um, Correct me if I'm wrong, Joel. It seemed to have, and for those of you listening or watching, that have experience with emulators, it seemed to have like a save state sort of feature, like where you can just save a state of the game, like not having to save and shut down the game to start another game. You can basically do like a save state of a game, go play another game, and come back to that same exact moment
Well,
where
very
you were
similar to
before.
the Xbox, where it has that quick launch kind of or quick switching.
Correct. The quick launch on the Series X. Yeah,
Correct.
kind of like that. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It did seem to seem they
Very
didn't
similar.
express it that way
Yeah,
or convey it that way, but it did kind of lead into that ability, and then they're not pushing as a key feature, but like things like that to your point of bed, like those are things that we're gonna have to like get hands on with and really see what to get our expectations in check. Giving us the core of it was really good, but there's still much to really be excited about to actually have a hands on experience for sure.
yeah. I think overall it was just a pretty good snippet of information. I think this is pretty much it. Unless they plan on
Yeah.
doing like every week until launch, they'll release something. But I think they're pretty much done with their showcases and everything they have to show. Um, Joe, that is pretty much it. Other than there's new iPhones coming, if you guys are interested in that, everything they're all getting OLEDs now, so you won't get left behind. Big thing is that they're going back to the iPhone 4/5 sort of design, which I really liked. That was
Me too.
that was my favorite design. The iPhone 5 was my favorite design. You know, so they're going back to that more um, I would say flat shape instead of the rounded sides, and I really like that. So yeah, a very impressive camera, of course. And now you won't get a charger or earphones.
Yeah,
So
that's the most controversial
yeah,
step of it all. You get the Lightning, USB-C
USB-C
Lightning,
Lightning. Yeah,
but you don't get the power
the brick.
brick.
Well, you can just
And
use your old bricks. How many bricks, Joe? Honestly, how many bricks do you have at your place?
oh, I probably have four or three.
Yeah, I have like 8, 10, maybe 12. I don't know.
Well, I meant like Apple, like iPhone
Oh, like
bricks.
iPhone
So I've
branded?
got other kinds. Yeah.
Yeah, because I have two iPad ones and three iPhone ones, and then I have like two Sony ones. The one that came with the Vita, I consider that one a brick, right? Um, the ones that my daughter's tablet has, there's two different ones. Yeah,
You got ways to
I
get that
got
power.
plenty. You got ways to get.
It is. You
Don't be
have
a
to admit, though,
crybaby.
Obed, it is pretty comical that their excuse is that they're trying to help the
I
environment. That
know.
is a pretty
That's
funny.
what I.
Like, eh.
Because they said the same thing for the watch, right?
Right.
But my watch didn't have a power brick. I actually have, when I bought my watch, it just came with a cable.
Yep.
And I plugged it into, I have a smart clock that has an integrated Google Home, and it has a USB port in the back. So that's where I have my watch. So
Nice.
you just find somewhere
It's
to
smart.
plug it in. Come on. Your TV has a USB. Just charge it off of your TV.
TV.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. You know something? You can have a smartphone, but that doesn't necessarily make it a smart user.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You gotta do
Like
that part yourself.
yeah, smartphone dumb people. Same. um, Joel, that's pretty much it. But we wanted to let you guys know that November 5th is gonna be our Games of the Generation episode. It's basically our favorite PS4 games. In all honesty, we're calling it Games of the Generation, but it's
You're
our
not gonna
favorite.
have Xbox
It's you're
titles.
not gonna have. We're not gonna do Switch because Switch is an ongoing generation.
Yeah, it's
You
between.
know, there's I do have games that I've played on the Switch that I would consider, you know, top 25 for sure. But it's basically just gonna be PlayStation games. Uh, I just reminded me. You ever? I mean, I'm assuming you've been to the Muppets 3D movie quite a few times
Absolutely.
already. So it's like Sam Eagle. It's a glorious ending with a tribute to all nations, but mostly America. So so it's kind of like that.
That's great,
So
man.
it's
I
a
love that you have that memorized.
yeah. So that's yeah. I love that thing. So it's gonna be like that. It's a tribute to all of past gen games, but mostly PlayStation. So so we're doing that on November 5th. So that's before the new consoles come out. Um, there was one more thing with the PS5 that I wanted to mention that just really escapes my mind, but we got plenty of time to talk in our next episode, Joel. So just go ahead and plug us in, man.
I can't wait for next episode, guys. Make sure that you are staying connected to us. We really want you to stay subscribed, so make sure you're following us, subscribing to our podcast version. We're on iTunes, Google Play, SoundCloud, and Spotify. Also, make sure you subscribe to our video version on our YouTube channel. Like those videos, share them with others. We really would appreciate it. Make sure to follow us on social media at No Load Time. That's at No Load Time on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch. Also, if you have any questions, comments, feedback, we'd love to hear from you. Send an email to noloadtime@gmail.com. That's noloadtime@gmail.com. Until next time, have a great one.
Thank you guys. Stay safe. We'll see you again next time. Cool. See, we always fill the time, sir.
Yeah.
That's why I'm not